Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I just want to talk about an article that was published on the Voice newspaper. In the article, it was titled, "Has anything really changed since Blackout Tuesday?" Now, the article itself doesn't go into details about the article, mainly an introduction into the discussion forum that's going to be held online later on this month. The link will be posted in the description box below. Now, for those who don't know, Blackout Tuesday was organised following the BBC's use of the N-word when it was covering a news story about a racial attack that took place in Bristol. Now, instead of the BBC just using the N-word, they actually reported the full use of the word nigger when covering the news story, even though we later found out that the family requested the BBC to use the word in its entirety. There was outrage still in regards to that, and the hashtag was formed, and people boycotted the BBC for one day in protest. Now, I thought I'd just offer my take on has anything really changed since Blackout Tuesday, and just kind of sum up this is kind of the reason why we're in the situation that we're in with this sort of title that's been posed. Now, what I mean by that is we always seem to be sitting ducks, waiting for other people just to either shoot us off or, if they're lucky, hand us the breadcrumbs because A, we don't have ownership, and B, we don't know how to properly support each other. Now, when we look at A, ownership, during that whole situation where the Blackout Tuesday hashtag was formed and the outrage that was going on, one of the DJs in One Extra, David Whiteley, formerly known as the Sideman, he quit his job at the BBC in protest over the incident. He released a video saying how he was left with no choice due to BBC not apologising and doubling down on it. And all the people were singing his praises, saying, you know, big up, well done. A talented person as you will surely get a job somewhere else. But I was just sitting back thinking, interesting. With all this virtue signaling, all this praise and adulation that he was getting, could anyone from the black community actually offer him a job instead of saying, I'm sure you'll get a job somewhere? Because at the end of the day, what if he needed the job to support, I don't know, his living costs, maybe a mortgage he had, or even rent, or even supporting his family? I mean, the meaningless support and praise that we had over his actual quitting of a job would not do anything for paying his actual bills and living costs. So for me, it just sums up how we love, as a people, symbolic gestures over actual true action. Because by doing something like that, it will take effort, work, and most certainly cooperation. More on that later. And it also leads me to the point of, where are actually the black-owned media outlets that could have offered him a job? Now, I'm not talking about things that we do on YouTube or Spotify or whatever sort of media outlets that we don't own, but we merely occupy. Because we always talk about racism and how it affects us in terms of getting jobs and everything like that at all, even though, especially in the entertainment industry, even though we are heavily represented in those fields, so much and so that when we talk about numbers and representation, it flies in the face of racism in itself, because it couldn't have held us back that much considering how much we are occupying these spaces. But with all that being said, with all these famous artists, celebrities, how is it that we do not have ownership in like record labels, a TV channel like BET in the US, for example? I mean, outside of the Voice newspaper, which is a very well-known black publication that was created back in 1982, are you telling me that since then, we don't have more outlets out there, reputable outlets that can challenge the Voice and are up there on par with the Voice in terms of black outlets that could offer people opportunities and avenues that we can actually support, that we can actually have our own unedited, unscripted voice where we as a people are supporting it? And that goes on to the next point. We as a people do not support each other as a community as we should, particularly when we look in comparison to the Asian community. We have a particular crabs in a barrel mentality. You only have to look at the constant beefs and schisms that happen in the music industry. Heck, people make a living out of beefs. Even look at YouTube, for example. If you look at the biggest black British YouTubers on here, you'll always be associated with some sort of beefs. Even when we look at Backchat London and all the issues that took place there, we thrive off beefs and talking about BS. And actual fact, if we could actually come together for a short time, actually build something worthwhile that actually will make more sense. But no, what do? We come together for a short time, and then guess what happens? Some small little situation here, small situation there, and then guess what? We beef, we bicker and argue, and then it all falls back down. We always moan about, oh, we don't support each other. Oh, we only care about each other when it comes to some beef. Oh, we don't really care about real things. Well, there you have it. I mean, it's no coincidence as well when we look at it that 95% of our money and support goes outside the community when we look at situations like this, how we treat our business, how we look after our business, how we support our businesses. So much so that we had to have a hashtag, which again was more divisive because this is something that we should already do as a community, as a people. So we had to have a hashtag to support black businesses, which was so funny because when the hashtag was generated, the one thing that we couldn't even do was isolate what were the black businesses. We had to have a call out, a PSA to say, look, if you are a black business, state your business below, which again, I have no problem with, but it just goes to show the situation that we're in when it comes to has anything changed. If we want true change, then what we need to do? We actually need to practice group economics. We need to come together as a people, create these media outlets that we can control, whereby we're not going to any other groups demanding for change, demanding for action, where we can, as a people, where possible, because it's not going to work in every instant, but particularly the industries that we dominate in or that we're most represented in, which is the entertainment industry, which is, by the way, the most biased, discriminatory business there are in the world. It's not about your talent, it's about looks, it could be about race, it could be about sex appeal. It's less about talent and more about you as an individual package. So when we talk about discrimination, everyone feels it. But again, if we own our own media outlets and we can offer people opportunities that we decide, then at the end of the day, this is where the whole idea of racism and how Blackout Tuesday, it becomes less and less of a relevance. Because this is how we practice group economics. Again, something that other communities like the Asians do already. That's why they didn't need no Asian Pound Day. You've never heard that kind of stuff because they do it automatically. They come into an area, they sort out the industry that they want to major in, they support each other. Again, they have their own issues like everyone else does. It's not utopia, and there never will be. However, for the most part, they practice group economics. So when it comes to racism that they've experienced, because it's not as if black people are the only people who experience racism in their lives. So whenever they experience some sort of racism, they can come together as a group and mobilize. Because why? They have ownership, which means they have true power. And this is what we need to do. So when it comes to this question, has anything changed since Blackout Tuesday? The answer is, well, it won't do until we sort out ownership for our own people. In order to do that, we need to come together as a people and actually do the thing. So that's my response to that article. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, I'm out.